He's a thumper.
He's looking like a guy we can build off in the secondary, which is good.
Who's Bambi if he's a thumper? Is it Akeem
Ooh,
Hicks or someone else prancing in the
say
meadow?
I'll say Jay Cutler.
Okay, Jay Cutler's Bambi.
Jay Cutler is Bambi in this situation.
All right, good. But let's. You want to talk about Dowell Loggins and
Yeah,
his execution? I haven't been overly impressed with him. So far, it's still early. I mean, 13-3 still a possibility. So I don't want to jump on the guy completely, but he seems like he is the scapegoat at this point. If things were to go extremely south, he's definitely a guy who could lose his job.
yeah, he would. I think if they lost this week and maybe next week, I think there would have been rumblings. You would start hear rumblings about him possibly losing his job. I think this week with Hoyer, you kind of saw him kind of revert back to, I think, how he would want to coach with Hoyer and kind of keep the game plan a little more simple as compared to when he's with Cutler. And the offense seems to be so just all vertical,
Mm-hmm.
nothing easy underneath for Cutler. It seemed to be tough routes and tough spots, and it put him in bad situations. So I was glad to see him kind of get back to a more standard type of game plan. They weren't trying anything too tricky or anything like that. And yeah, so you saw them win the time of possession, which has been a really big problem through the first 4 weeks. And this was the first game they finally were able to keep their offense on the field for like long stretches of the game. So a lot of good signs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I noticed that time of possession number. That was good to see. Definitely with this Bears team just holding onto the ball, getting good drives in, and winning a game. That's always good.
Yeah.
And then next week we got the Bears at the Colts. The Colts have been a kind of a dumpster fire so far. They lost to the Jaguars 30-27 overseas. And hopefully the Bears come out with a win next week against a team that is kind of in the same place they are.
Well, last year Bears started 0-3, fought their way back to 3-3, and then fell apart again.
Mm-hmm.
They have the Colts, and then they have the Jaguars the week after. So we could see like somewhat of a repeat of last year. I could see them winning these next two games. I could also see Andrew Luck throwing all over the place and winning that game. But, the Colts have looked like a bottom 5 team. Outside of Andrew Luck and T.Y. Hilton, they don't have a lot on either side of the ball. So, very winnable game for the Bears.
Yeah, hopefully the Bears defense steps up, is able to shut down Andrew Luck.
Yeah.
He's been dealing with some injury bugs so far this season. Something with his shoulder is going on.
Yeah. Well, I think he's been sacked the most of any QB. So, no surprise there to see him come down with an injury.
Yeah. Just some other things to touch on with the rest of the NFL here. Julio Jones had a crazy day.
Yes,
300 yards receiving and a touchdown, 12 catches. I had a buddy who I'll just say his name. My buddy Eric, Big Cat, has Julio Jones on his fantasy team and still lost.
Wow.
So that's that's pretty embarrassing.
Guess who else has Julio Jones on his fantasy team?
Blake
does, and he almost single-handedly won me the game by himself. he lost by like 19 points, just him.
Jeez.
Yeah, he was dominant for fantasy owners out there.
And the Cardinals and Panthers, who we thought were going to be juggernauts, are at 1-3 so far. It still is early, but that's a head scratcher.
You know who else is 1-3?
Bears.
We're better than the Cardinals and the Panthers.
Oh, oops! I hit something there. There you go.
Oh, yeah. Earthquake.
Oops! Earthquake. So, yeah, that's the Bears. We still don't really know what to make of this team. A lot of injuries.
Still
Definitely
kind of lack an identity.
Yeah.
I figure it out a little bit.
Hopefully. Let's hope.
Yeah.
The Blackhawks. Blake.
Yes.
It's preseason time. We're getting closer and closer to regular season starting up here for our Blackhawks. And of course, like at every training camp, you have to figure out who's going to be on the team. So a bunch of roster moves.
Is that what they do in training camp? I thought they just kind of sat around and
don't they just keep everybody?
Yeah, why everyone they can all skate.
You're right.
They should make the team.
All right, let's just skip this entire segment then.
Let's go to Bulls. Let's go to Bulls.
Just go,
Just get out of here. Let's just stop the podcast.
All right, so let's play a little who's in, who's out. Who's riding that bubble for the Blackhawks so far? The bubble.
Yeah.
So, Blake, who is in?
Well, Drew Edstrom, if that is your real name.
That is my real name.
Okay, good. Just
checking. Last time I checked.
Last time I checked.
I got my birth certificate right here, and
it says.
Do
you have a passport?
I don't have a passport, but I have a birth certificate.
Well, next week we're gonna need the passport.
All right, sounds good. I'll submit my application.
But back to the Blackhawks. Who's in right now? I think 3 players that were on the bubble. I would say when training camp started. I would say I don't know if they're locks, but they're definitely looking like NHL players, and that's Tyler Mott, Nick Schmaltz, and Panik, not Panic. Panik. Those 3 look more like locks than probably anyone else who's kind of near the bubble discussion right now.
Mm-hmm. I don't want to panic about these roster moves. So.
Wow. Wow. Let's move on.
All right, then who is out?
Well, who's out? The big man, Svedberg. He is gone. He's actually already out. All right. And then the Finnish defenseman who everyone loved in the World Cup, Ville Pokka, is also out. So that guy made Team Finland, but he didn't make the Blackhawks. So are we better than Finland? Yes? No? The answer is yes. We're better than Finland.
You heard it here.
You heard it here, folks. People. Blackhawks, better than Finland.
And then that bubble watch.
The bubble. Well, I think a couple of these guys, based off the game tonight, should be taken off the bubble. Hinostroza, one of them. I think he's in. I think he's made the roster. He's looking like a nice guy who will fill in on that 3rd or 4th line.
Mm-hmm.
Hartman, I don't like Hartman at all as a player. I think he's not good. I think there's a lot of issues with him right now. I don't think he's an NHL player by any stretch, but I still kind of feel like they're going to put him on the roster to start the season. Just because Q seems to like him, and as a first-round pick, you like to give those guys extra chances. So, then Forsling should make the team, but probably won't, and he'll be back in Sweden. And 2 other names. I put Carroll on here. I don't know what his stance is. I always hear his name just as kind of associated with, maybe playing in the NHL, but we'll see. And I also have TBR on here, Trevor Van Riemsdyk, which is kind of a surprise for some people, but
I've been hearing his name a lot coming up, like how he is not playing well.
Negatively, yeah. He's he had a bad season last year, and if he doesn't show enough progression, he could find himself back in Rockford, which would be, kind of sad after a pretty promising start to his career.
Mm-hmm.
But yet to be seen. I'm sure he'll make the team, but
Yeah, I'd probably give him the benefit of the doubt and say that he is on the team.
Yeah,
and we got
Q likes him.
Yeah, and we've had some preseason games. I mean, we don't want to take a whole lot of stock in these preseason games.
Barely any.
They don't count, but they do matter, as I like to say.
Yeah.
Sometimes. And we'll talk a little bit about that with the Bulls in just a couple seconds. But something that stood out to me, Kane and Panarin are on different lines. I know.
Everyone's been talking about.
What's your thoughts on that?
Right now I'm a little torn on it. Obviously, them on the same line instantly makes that line just absolutely terrifying. But Panarin and Taves, it's not like they might see a little drop off, but I would say it would probably get Taves going if anything, more offensively. And you'll get to try different things with Kane too. He can make anything work, Kane, offensively. So the more guys you can switch in and out with him is probably a good thing. But I don't know. We'll have to see. I'm sure Q will go back to it in dire straits. It'll be kind of like that Taves Kane line we see every once in a while when they kind of need that push. So I don't know.
Yeah, I'm excited for this Blackhawks season. I think we have the best division in hockey. That's a fact. Yeah. And it's going to be extremely competitive. I live with a Jets fan, for those of you who don't know. And that's been kind of annoying so far, but I mean, I love the guy and he knows his hockey. So it's been weird, but it's been good at the same time because we've had a lot of hockey talk and us just talking about how good our division is.
Our division is really, really good.
Yeah.
It got better this year.
It really did. You know who didn't get better?
The Chicago Bulls.
The Chicago Bulls. Well, the jury's still out. They haven't really played a regular season game, but on a scale of 1 to 10, how weird was it for you to see Dwayne Wade in a Bulls uniform last night?
I'll say 0, and I'll tell you why. I had a dream.
Oh, gosh.
Where I was getting embraced by Dwayne Wade.
You were getting a hug from Dwayne Wade?
Okay, none of this happened, but I've been around on this earth. I've been living on Earth long enough to see, even when Wade came into the NBA in like the years he was like, oh, he could be a free agent in this season, blah, blah. I always saw like people putting Bulls jerseys on D Wade. So, I've been exposed to it in the past. So
you are a weirdo. You had a dream about Dwayne Wade embracing you?
I said I was joking. It was a joke. I'm a funny guy.
That's one way to put it.
I hope I have that dream.
Oh my god. All right. For me, it was like solid 9. I was very weirded out. It took me a little bit. It was weirder for me to see Rondo in a Bulls jersey.
Yeah, I was gonna say that one is weird for me. I'll say that.
Gosh. Yeah, and the Bulls, they played their first preseason game last night against the Milwaukee Bucks at home, and they lost 93-91. Something that was really funny that happened at the beginning of the name was Stacey King trying to pronounce the Greek Freak's name. If you haven't heard that, look that up. It is hilarious.
Great. Even though I haven't heard it.
He says, like, I to Carumbo or something funny like that. I've just learned to not try to say his name, even though I love the NBA and I write about the NBA.
You just say the Greek Freak.
I just say the Greek Freak or Giannis.
Or Giannis.
It makes things a lot easier.
You gotta draw out the A, the Giannis.
Giannis.
There you go.
Thank you, Blake.
Now all podcast listeners are gonna be saying it like that.
I'm sure. But just a couple